not like how I used to be. I think I'm better than I used to be. And I also think that the doctor made my brain better
How can you
than
be better?
before.
Yeah, how can you say that? How can you be better than you used to be? You're dizzy, you can't talk properly, your eye doesn't work the same. How can you possibly be better? What kind of thinking
Well,
happens for you to get to that stage? That's weird.
no, it's good. It's a good thing because um, I see things so much differently now, and I'm all about education, and so I wasn't before. It's probably because I was go 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 all the time working, and so when I stopped, I just saw things that I didn't really pay attention to before, probably.
This is Recovery After Stroke with Bill Gasiamis, helping you go from where you are to where you'd rather be.
Bill from recoveryafterstroke.com. This is episode 107, and my guest today is AVM stroke survivor and compassionate snob, Sheri McIntyre. Even though the bleed in Sheri's brain caused deficits including balance issues, vision issues, and speech issues, Sheri believes that she's better after stroke. Sheri describes her new voice as sounding like actor Matthew McConaughey's accent. Now, when you get to the end of this episode, whether you are watching on YouTube or listening online on your favorite podcast app, please do me a favor and share this episode in other groups you hang out in. This will help someone that is doing it tough at the moment perhaps feel a little better about the journey that they are on. Also, if you feel that this podcast makes a massive difference to you and the stroke community, please do me a favor and give the show a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you download your podcasts from. Part of the reason I make these podcast episodes is to share stories of stroke recovery, and the aim is to share all parts of stroke, the good, the bad, and the ugly. In the more than 8 years since the first bleed on my brain, I've spent a long time discovering what supports stroke survivors to heal their brain, and all this information is going into a course called 10 Steps to Brain Health for Stroke Survivors. Module 1 is available now, and Module 2 will be released just a few days after this podcast goes live. This is a course that is included as part of my Recovery After Stroke coaching program that will help you overcome fatigue, reduce anxiety, and support your memory, amongst other things. This 10-step program has been created to complement any medical interventions and works in conjunction with any other therapies that you are undergoing. So if you are a stroke survivor that wants to know how to heal your brain, overcome fatigue, and reduce anxiety, this course is for you. If you feel like there is not enough support after you leave hospital and you're afraid that your recovery will go backwards, then this is where I can help. While you are participating in this course, I will coach you and help you gain clarity on where you are currently in your recovery journey. I will help you create a picture of where you would like to be in your recovery 12 months from now, and I will coach you to overcome what's stopping you from getting to your goal. To find out more, go to recoveryafterstroke.com/coaching. And now it's on with the show. Sheri McIntyre, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, how are you, Bill?
I'm
Thanks for
very
having
well.
me. It's so nice to be here and see you, Brady.
It's
See you and talk.
lovely to have you here too. Now, you're the first guest I've ever had that wears 2 pairs of glasses at the same time. And I
Oh,
thought it was just a joke, but it's not a joke. It's serious stuff. Tell me why you need 2 pairs of glasses at the same time.
yeah. Okay. Well, I have a prism and one of these, right? And so I wear these over them to read so I can see close up. So I
Okay.
wear them a lot when I text on the phone or computer and things like that. But I have to wear these. I never wore glasses before. But one eye is they're not even. They're a little off. So I need a prism and a lens. So
Okay, so
I wear these too.
the first pair fixes that prism. It fixes the eye being
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
the right height, and then the other pair helps you read like a normal person supposedly would use to
Yeah.
read.
It's just magnifiers. They're only magnifiers. I
Ah,
put over these so I can see better.
there you
Like when
go.
I text.
There you
Yeah.
go. There's an amazing invention waiting for some smart optometrist to create a single
Oh
pair
yeah.
that fixes all those issues for us.
Mhm. Yeah. So I sometimes forget to have them on. I forget I have them on, and so I talk like this because of the stroke. I had to learn to talk all over again. So I sound like I'm from South Carolina. Like I have a twang, but it's not that. It's from, people ask me, oh, where you from? I go, you don't want to know. Wrong question.
So what happened to
I'm
you?
not, well, I had an AVM rupture, a brain bleed, right? So they give me a craniotomy down the back of my head. They open up. Oh, I don't even want to know how gruesome it was. And so I have a big dent back here. They shaved my head. So there's a lot of things that they did to me. But I came home and everything was different.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. And what I'm kind of upset about is that there is not enough knowledge out there. That's why you do what you do, right?
Yeah.
And I wrote a book. I have no idea how I wrote that. By the grace of God, that's how I wrote that. I don't know how I wrote it. I don't know.
I love it. I
But
love it.
I
You
came
have,
home and I kept saying, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. No one believed me, mind you. They just appeased me. They said, okay, so all right. I'm going to write a book.
how old
So
were
here
you
it
when you
is.
had the stroke? How old were you when you had the AVM
Um,
burst?
51, I think. Yeah, 51.
Wow. How many years ago was that? Do you mind me asking?
Four.
Okay. Awesome. Well, you have one of the
Yeah.
most impressive, scary, I'm not sure, scars that I've ever seen of a stroke survivor. That scar in the back of your head is one of the biggest I've
Yeah.
seen.
It
Um,
was very brutal,
yeah.
I've been told, because my cousin works in the hospital, and some girl was in the operating room, and she just said that it was gruesome. So I don't know why he chose to tell me that, but he did. I go, I don't want to hear it.
Have you seen it?
What, my scar?
Yeah. Have you seen the photo?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It, because in my book, I always, when I had it, I used to call it, because anyway, they shaved my head, and I had a scar right from here all the way down the back of my neck.
Yeah.
And so I used to say to people, want to see my elephant, because I thought it looked like an elephant trunk, right? But I thought that it had pink rhinestones for staples.
How did you?
Yeah,
Is that like? What do you mean, pink rhinestones? Like, is that what you thought? Are you a
yeah, I
country
thought
music
that.
fan?
I don't know where that came from. I'm not blingy at all. I'm not that type of person. But I thought, I go to everybody, I go, want to see my elephant? And I would show them a scar. And I thought it's because I could not see it when it happened. I saw the pictures much later,
Yeah.
because, as I say, the drugs, I was on very heavy medication, right,
Yeah.
in the beginning. So I don't remember a lot, but I do remember saying to people, want to see my elephant? And I thought it was pink rhinestones,
Wow.
but it wasn't. It was staples. And someone asked me how many staples I had in there, and I don't know. I don't know. It was a lot, though.
It was. Seriously was a
Yeah.
lot. Now, other than your speech, you obviously had your speech affected. What else was affected? Your eye, we know about. What else was affected?
Yeah. Well, like what my equilibrium, right? It's very, very off. I'm like dizzy. It's so hard to describe. I'm dizzy all the time. Like, do you know how a kid, when you take a kid, you give them an airplane ride, you grab their leg, the ankle, and the wrist, and you spin them around,
Yeah.
and then you put them down? That's how I feel like all the time.
Yeah.
That is the only way to describe it. Or I also feel the other way I describe it is like a cinder block on my head, right? Like imagine carrying that around all day, every day. And that's what I do.
Yeah. That's really
Hmm.
interesting. You and
Yeah,
I,
it's weird. Everyone has different symptoms, I know.
yeah, you and I, we had a couple of discussions about about you and what happened to you before you came on the podcast in Messenger, on Instagram. And one of the things that I mentioned was that that study by Paul Bacurita, a scientist that's passed away now, who discovered how to retrain the tongue to become the center for the balance. And
Mm-hmm.
the person that he was helping was somebody who had damage to their inner ear. And as a result of that, their balance had been gone. And then they were able to retrain this person to use the tongue to take over that task. It's neuroplasticity. It was amazing, right?
Yeah,
Ha-
that is wonderful.
have you spoken to somebody about helping you to overcome your balance issues further? Has there been anyone that can help in that area?
Not really. Well, not, I don't know. I haven't I haven't really looked into that. I go to a chiropractor and she gonna help me. She gonna help me, but she doesn't do neuro chiropractic, right? And there's a place, but it's hard for me to drive out of I pass around town. I couldn't drive before. So for me to drive is a big, huge thing.
Hmm.
So I drive a little bit around. I don't go far though. And the place that I have to go is far and everyone working. And it's a couple of days that you have to be there. So it's hard for me to do that. But I want to, but I will someday.
Yeah.
I'm because now I'm learning more and more and more about this. And that is why I wrote the book, because there wasn't enough information given to me. I don't feel like. But but it's about it's for everybody. I don't think there is enough information given to other people either.
Yeah. Absolutely, there isn't. I mean, there is
No.
a very common lack of. There's a concern by all people who I speak to in stroke recovery, whether they've been recovering for 10 years or 20 years or 5 years. There is definitely a concern that there isn't enough information out there, and that people have to go on their own search for information about how
Yes.
to heal,
Yes.
how to recover.
Mm-hmm.
And I suppose maybe it is our responsibility to do the kind of work that we're doing so that we can help, because um, if if there is a problem and you can't solve it because there's nobody else helping out, then we've got to take responsibility for that and create communities that are easy
Mm-hmm.
to find and easy for
Mm-hmm.
people to come to. And
Yeah.
I think that's starting to happen now. Um, so when you experienced
And
your,
guess what? That is how I found out the information. But when I was able to look myself, I had to rely on my family to help me. And they were so overwhelmed with everything, right? And they did the best they could. But what's hard is describing what you feel like, what your symptoms are. So they had to go back to their jobs. And so I was alone. I'm on disability. I can't work anymore. And I hate that. And so I'm finding out a lot of things because now I can use technology to find out. Before I couldn't. So, and that is a big, huge thing.
yeah, so when you had this stroke, what were the circumstances around that? Were you alone? Were you with some family? What happened there? How did you discover that
Well,
you were
it,
about to have a stroke?
it happened. I didn't. I didn't know. No one knew I had one. I went to the bathroom. It was New Year's Day, right? And I went to the bathroom, and so I guess I didn't feel right or something. And my daughter knocked on the door. I didn't want to scare her. I said, "Go get your father," because I knew something was wrong, right? And I came out of the bathroom, and my hands started going like this uncontrollably. And I said, "Call the ambulance." And that was it. I fell and I was out. And that was it.
That was it. Wow, so sudden.
Hmm.
Before that, did you have any idea that maybe there was something
None.
going on in your head? No headaches, no nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just, it grew, an AVM, grows into the artery, veins go into artery, and the artery just couldn't handle it anymore. The veins couldn't handle it, the flow of blood flow.
Yeah, too much
So the
pressure.
ruptured. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
had a
and it happened to my cerebellum.
It happened in your cerebellum. I had an AVM that was near the cerebellum, and it affected lots of things at the time. So, how long did it take for you to recover your speech and be able to talk again?
Well, I could talk a little bit, but I didn't know, like, because I was on such heavy medication, and so I used to have no filter, none. I would say whatever to whoever, and that was a little bit of problem because, as you see, I have big mouth. Like I love to talk, and I would say things like "I don't like you" to people. Like, and now I wonder why I don't have many friends. I probably push them all away. I'm a brat. I'm a brat. But you have to be to get where you want to go. No, you don't have to be brat. I'm fun. I should say I'm laid back. I'm a brat, but in a fun way. I would never hurt anybody's feelings on purpose.
Yeah, I understand. And you're still in recovery mode. Your brain's not working properly, so it's not. Your behavior is probably due to a lot of the stuff that's going on in your head, and it sounds like your personality was affected for a certain amount of time, and then
Yes, it
starting
was.
to settle
It
down.
was. But now it's back. I'm pretty regular. I know right from wrong, all that kind of thing. But neuroplasticity, I didn't have it before. So it's getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and one thing I want to stress that I did not know is that it takes so long for the brain to heal,
Yeah.
to get better, to like, you know, be able to be normal, if there's normal. I don't think there is, but back to the way, not like how it used to be. I think I'm better than I used to be. And I also think that the doctor made my brain better
How can you
than
be better than?
before.
Yeah, how can you say that? How can you be better than you used to be? You're dizzy, you can't talk properly, your eye doesn't work the same. How can you possibly be better? What kind of thinking
Well,
happens for you to get to that stage? That's weird.
no, it's good. It's a good thing because um, I see things so much differently now, and I'm all about education, and so I wasn't before. It's probably because I was go 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 all the time working, and so when I stopped, I just saw things that I didn't really pay attention to before, probably.
If you've had a stroke and are in recovery, you'll know what a scary and confusing time it can be. You're likely to have a lot of questions going through your mind, like, how long will it take to recover? Will I actually recover? What things should I avoid in case I make matters worse? Doctors will explain things, but obviously because you've never had a stroke before, you probably don't know what questions to ask. If this is you, you may be missing out on doing things that could help speed up your recovery. If you're finding yourself in that situation, stop worrying and head to recoveryafterstroke.com, where you can download a guide that will help you. It's called 7 Questions to Ask Your Doctor About Your Stroke. These 7 questions are the ones Bill wished he'd asked when he was recovering from a stroke. They'll not only help you better understand your condition, they'll help you take a more active role in your recovery. Head to the website now, recoveryafterstroke.com, and download the guide. It's free.
And so now I'm like, oh, I have a lot of opinions.
Sheri,
Yeah. So
couldn't you do that beforehand? Did you have to have a stroke to get to that point?
yeah, I guess I did. Yeah. Yeah. So not that it's a good thing, but it is a good thing. I am a better human being for it. And that's why I named the book Compassionate Snob.
Tell me about it.
I found out I'm much more compassionate than a snob, which I never really was a snob, but that is a play on words, right? Because I tried to act like I used to work at the high-end hair salon, right? And all these women come in, right? And so I acted like, no, I'm better than that. I don't care. But everyone, when they go out, I find wears a mask, and they're kind of not like their true selves, right? And so, I was like that, but now I'm not.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I can relate to being a better version of myself after the stroke, because I started to do things that I hadn't done before that I always wanted to do. You know, I apologized to a lot of people. I said sorry a lot. I did all
Yeah.
those things, you know, and I made
Hmm.
sure that I became basically somebody who I think my kids could look up to and they could trust, and they could, um,
Hmm.
you know, and they could be proud of, because I wasn't terrible before, but when I reflected, I wasn't maybe 100% living my truth,
Yeah.
and I didn't like
And
that.
that's how I was, yeah, with my daughter. I would do things a lot differently than what I did. People think that material things are what matters, but it's not. It's the other way around. It's not about, I always say this, it's about what kind of person you are, because that is why on Instagram, I'm like, I don't care. I don't wear makeup or whatever. I'm real. I'm real. And a lot of people, I think, aren't that way. And so it's about what kind of person you are, not what you have, not makeup, hair, all that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a place for it as well, but it depends on why you're doing it. If you're doing it to impress other people or to fit into a particular group or a crowd, it doesn't.
Mm.
It's not really an enjoyable thing. And now I'm talking about it from my experience. You know, when I used to try and pretend I was somebody that I wasn't, to hang out with a
Yeah,
certain group of people, it never
yeah,
really felt
yeah.
great. I felt like, wow, you know, my head was giving me all this information about how amazing it was to be there, but deep down I knew that that was no fun, and these aren't real friends, and you know, they probably,
Oh, I learned, you're right. I learned I can't point at people that not nice. And I learned that who through this whole experience, who your friends are, real friends are.
yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, absolutely. Some went missing. A lot of them went missing, and they
Oh
weren't around.
yeah.
And the
Mm-hmm.
ones that were I wasn't expecting actually turned up, and they did the most. They helped the most. They were the most amazing, and they were people that were around for a long time, but we just never used to see each other a lot. But then
Yeah.
they stepped up in a big way, and I didn't ask them to. They just did, and it was such
Yeah.
so refreshing. And you know, they are. They
Yeah.
always were great people, and now I know why.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I see people so much differently now, and now I'm I'm like I d- I have a big saying I always go by now. Actions speak louder than words, because you can say whatever you want, but I go by people's actions, even for myself.
Yeah.
If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. It's about your integrity as a person.
Yeah, I agree. You know, when you woke up from surgery and you started to get better and you noticed your voice was different, did you have any concerns about that? Were you embarrassed by that, or did you feel any kind of strange stuff going on because your voice sounded different?
No, no, I didn't. And I used to say to people, I used to like fix my pants, like step on them, and talk a little bit. I go, I'm like Matthew McConaughey. He is a actor. You know him?
Yeah.
He like has a twang, right? So I sound like that. And so if you don't like it, oh well, sorry, your loss.
Yep. Have you had people respond to you differently because of the way that you talk? Do they make assumptions about, who Cherie is?
I don't know, because I don't see that many people. So I'm not concerned with like how they think. I don't have time for that.
Yeah. What do you have time for?
Learning stuff, learning and writing and music and my family and that kind of thing. There aren't enough hours in the day, because I have to learn everything over again, and I cannot write with my right hand. So learn to text or type or whatever with my left hand.
Uh,
So I'm trying to learn technology, but I have a hard time learning some things, so it's a lot slower for me to do. Everything is slower, but I try like hell to keep up.
yeah, you sound like you're a go-getter for sure. Tell me about your husband. Like, what kind of a man is he? Uh, has he been all right?
Go, 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 go.
Is he all right? Like, did he do a good job helping you out?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He did, and my family did. But after a while, I think they didn't know, because I was always the type to be strong for them.
Mm,
I knew that if I lay back and like I can do that if I want to, but it's not fair to them. You have to be the best person you know how. It's not fair to make someone else take care of you. I
mm.
do things myself. I said, no, 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 I'll do it myself. And that is the only way you're going to learn how to do things. Because I have gone to things, and I say, oh, I'll do this, right? Oh, no, no, go sit down. Other people do that to me, and I don't like that.
Uh,
I'm like, okay.
yeah, I know what you mean. It's about uh, regaining your independence and not having people assume that you're not capable of something. But they're
Yes.
coming from a lovely place. They're trying to be, uh, loving and caring, and they don't want the worst for you. And they're doing all these things for the right reason, potentially. But I know what you
Yes.
mean, because when I go somewhere and there's escalators, the stairs that move, um,
Mm-hmm.
and then on the left side or the right side of those, there's actual stairs. I'll go to the stairs and walk up the stairs. It's harder, it's more annoying, it hurts more, but I do the stairs because
Mm-hmm.
I can, because I one
Yeah.
day I couldn't, and now I can. So I'm going to make sure that I'm not going to go up the escalator the lazy way. I call it lazy now.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about it as being something that I can do, so I'm going to do it. I'm not going to miss out on doing that. And if I get tired, I'll stop. And if I need to hold on to the rail, I'll hold on to the rail. Like I,
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what you mean. There's an easy way to do things, and there's a hard way to do things. And I don't like to take the easy way out. But if I'm really, really tired, really, really fatigued, I'm not silly. I'm not going to do something
Yeah.
that's going to make it difficult for me or dangerous. I'll do the right thing by
Yeah.
myself. But I know what you mean.
Yeah. You know your limitations.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I thought, oh well, I'll just take it easy and like steam bed and putz around, right? I didn't do much. That was the wrong thing to do because the next day I suffered for it. So you always have to move. You always have to keep, like I exercise and I go for walks and things like that. I didn't do any of that day. I'll never do that again. You have to move. You have to move. You have to. Because if you don't lose it, you'll lose it. You
Yeah.
know that saying. It's true.
Yeah, very true. Use it or lose it. I know. And it's true. I had lost a lot of those things, and I used to struggle reading and typing an email and all that type of thing. And my words would be mixed up when I was typing the email. The letters would be all over the place.
Yeah.
But I just kept doing it. And at one point, a couple of lines of email might take me 5 or 6 hours and I didn't have a sense of time. So I'd be sitting there typing an email that was important or not important, didn't matter. And then the whole day would be gone and I hadn't even finished the email yet.
Yeah, and not funny. It's not funny.
Well,
But
it wasn't then.
it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But it is now. Yeah.
It wasn't then, but it is now. And then I could have given up and said, this is too hard. I'm not going to do that anymore. I can't be bothered sitting here for a whole day to type 3 lines on an email. What I'm going to do, though, is practice and practice and practice. And that is what slowly made my brain recover the ability to do that. And I didn't get concerned that I couldn't do it. It was frustrating, but it was like, oh, well, I can't do it. I'm going to try again, and I'm going to try again, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And that's what I did. You have to try. That's the only way you're going to get better, to a better place, you transform, right? So that is the only way you're going to get to a better place.
Yeah.
Oh, I could stay where I was, but that is no fun. Who wants to do that?
Yeah, I agree with you. Did you have children do you have children?
Yeah, one.
How old
One.
was she?
She was 16 at the time, and so my book I read a little bit about her, but I don't put people's names in there because I don't want to. They did not ask to be written about, and I don't think it's fair to them, so I don't put names.
Yeah, fair enough. How did
And I
she?
don't mention them a lot. I don't talk about them a lot.
Yeah, that's
Go
fair enough.
ahead.
How did she? How did she deal with her mum being so unwell?
Awful. And that I think was the worst part. But now she's all right. But I think at that time, because I did everything for her, but this is now what I learned. I wouldn't do as much for her because they're not doing anything to help them. You have to let them do it themselves. And even though they struggle, let them do it themselves. That is my biggest mistake I made as a mother. But now I know.
So,
So,
so you were one of those mothers, the helicopter parents, were you? That
oh
did.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 And now I'm not.
And now how's she transitioning? She's becoming a different version of herself. She's gone from
Yeah.
somebody that didn't have to lift a finger to somebody that
Yeah.
has to do some things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's hard for her, I'm sure. But I think that she sees that me and my husband are go, right? And so she come along.
Yeah. And she's
And think, go ahead.
and I was going to say she's a teenager. My kids were teenagers at the time
Yeah,
too, and they're terrible. Teenagers are terrible all the time, regardless of whether their mum's well or their dad's well or not well.
yeah.
They
Hmm.
they play that role, and then every once in a while, you do have to stretch them and give them some additional responsibilities. And
Hmm.
my kids, they weren't keen on having additional responsibilities. They just wanted life to be normal.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's very hard. I think for them, they are in a phase, like a stage, where they're all self-consumed, everything about them.
Yeah.
And then they have a sick parent that needs help. I needed a lot of help at the beginning. Mm.
Do you experience fatigue? How are you doing these days as far as energy?
Well, the one thing I thank God for is that I'm not in pain. I don't have headaches, but I do get fatigued, yes, but not like I don't know, because some people talk about this wicked fatigue. There's my New England accent, wicked, and but I get tired, yeah, but like you have to lie down, but I'm not like I can't move.
Yeah.
But I know when I'm getting fatigued, I don't talk as good. Mm.
Yeah. Have you noticed the recovery continuing slowly, year on year, month on month?
Yes,
Do you notice it
yes.
all the time?
Mhm. 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 Because I would not be at this point if I hadn't pushed myself. Because I do a lot of things now that I didn't before. But in my book, I read about that, right? What I learned, and I want people to I want to help people learn what I didn't know. And so I think it's so important for caregivers, I think, to know, because no one can read my mind. Simple things that we didn't know, but I couldn't take care of myself. I would have to rely on everybody else because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even think correctly. So
Yeah.
I had to rely on others. And a lot of the people now, they're using technology, which is wonderful. But the other generation, like my parents and things, they didn't use it.
Yes.
So there's a big gap. Oh, this is what I want to say. I go to exercise. This is a good tip for people. I go to exercise at the senior center. So my sister is a social worker, and so she said to me, she goes, Sheri, why don't you go to the local senior center and exercise there? They'll come and get you, because I couldn't drive. So they would come and get me and drive me to exercise and drive me home. And so, oh my God, you have no idea how important that was,
Yeah.
because that's my social life. Not only is it because it's physically isolating, and you can get very isolated, and but that was my outing, exercise, going to the local senior center, and I still go there.
Yeah, good on you. You seem very upbeat, very positive. Do you have bad days? Do you have those really dark,
Oh
bad
yeah,
days?
yeah.
What
Well,
happens on
not
those days?
like
What do you feel like? What do you notice?
uh, just I'm moody, bitchy, or something like that. But I just stay away from everybody. But I don't. The one good thing is I don't have many bad days,
Good.
and I don't know why. I'm lucky. I'm very grateful for that, because I hear of so many people having bad days, and I don't. Of course I do sometimes,
Yeah.
but not often.
Yeah, that's great. I know what you mean. I'm mostly upbeat. I think it was my personality always to be upbeat and to be always half glass full kind of guy. And I think
Yeah,
that's helped me in my stroke journey because that meant that I was already primed in that way. I was already looking for the
yeah,
positive. I was already looking for those good things. And the mindset that I had um, made it very possible for me to overcome all the challenges that I experience and still am experiencing. But I still did have my bad days. And I think I get worse when I get tired. When I get tired, my brain can go
yeah,
to these really dark places and I can behave inappropriately and I can be nasty and I can do all sorts of things. And it's not who I prefer to be. So it's really about resting and taking time to
yeah.
recharge and then get back to my full
Mhm,
energy level.
mhm.
Um, so do you miss driving and all those things that you can't do? Do you focus on any of that stuff at all?
I choose not to because then why go back? Why do that to yourself? So I just go forward. I um I do not like driving far. I don't like it, but that's the way it is right now. And so like um we had to drive into Boston, right? For a few appointments, and I can't do that. And I feel so bad for people that have to go in there. I can't believe it. Anyway, but I feel bad for people, and that is the problem because I'm more compassionate thinking of other people than myself.
Uh-huh. So you need help. You want somebody to drive you, for example, to your appointments, but you don't want to ask.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Uh,
I don't want to be needy, like, I need you. I'd rather do everything myself. But I know sometimes you have to.
yeah, yeah.
But for um, I'll ask if I have to because I have an appointment to go see a cerebellum specialist,
Mhm.
and that's in Boston. And my sister took me for, but everyone working, well, I don't know now with this whole shutdown thing,
Mm,
which is awful. That's another thing.
mm.
Like, are you doing that too?
Yep.
And so, but I think people that are stroke survivors, right? They are kind of used to it. So they did the isolation thing beforehand,
Yeah, well,
right?
that's
So,
interesting because I was asked about that, and that's what I said. I'm used to it. It wasn't anything
yeah,
real strange or different. I know it's going to end. I know that we'll get back to work and all those types of things. However, some people who are having uh, to recover from stroke right now are not don't have the experience that we have. They haven't got the distance and the learning that they got from 5 years ago. They're going through isolation and stroke isolation at the same time. So it's been really difficult for
yeah,
some people,
yeah, I understand that. I understand that very much so. But
especially if
I
they
already
can't get
went through
to
that. And
especially if
a
they
lot
can't
of
get to
people,
rehab.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It's hard. A lot of people that are stroke survivors have already been through that.
Yeah.
So we're good on that end. I think that a lot of people now are learning what their eyes have been open because they stopped. And so now they're seeing things that they didn't see before.
Yeah. I agree with you. I love your approach to recovery. I love your approach to life in general, with the fact that why look back, just look forward. I think it's important for some people to look back to be able to perhaps heal some wounds, some challenges that they've faced that are causing them problems in their present, so that they don't take that to their future. Um, but I just love the way that you go about your recovery. It's all about, how do we get better, overcome, and stop focusing on the things that aren't helping us and focus on the things that can support us. Because when you're focusing on something negative, you can't focus on something positive or something helpful. And that takes time away from you being able to put into this positive thing
Yes.
that you can do.
Yeah, because I have to learn a new skill all over again because I can't. I used to be work in a hair salon, and I used to be a stylist, but I can't do that anymore because I can't use hand good. I can't cut hair and stand all day.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I was just
I
thinking,
just zip around. Mm.
imagine they'll let you go back to work with scissors in your hand. What could happen to that person's poor head?
I don't want to know. They'd have an elephant on an elephant trunk. No, I don't know what would happen, but it probably wouldn't be good. But what I am good at is I'm creative. So I just harness that energy and do something else. Like I wrote this book and I decorate really good. I'm in the process of decorating my area, my deck and outside for summer because that's going to be where I'm going to be all summer.
And it may as well look pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Make it as comfortable as possible and make it feel a little bit different if you can, because if you're spending a lot of time there, you may as well enjoy it. If it's drab,
Yeah.
then it won't be so enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a little courtyard in my house, and because of isolation, we can't go out as much, and we can't be in cafes and restaurants and all those things that we used to do to hang out with our friends. So I'm going to put up some little outdoor lights to make it feel like those fancy cafes, so that when I'm out there, it just feels like a fancy cafe in my backyard.
That's what I did too. I put up my husband did it for me today outside.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and that's good.
Yeah, I love it. It makes you feel like you're somewhere else, not at home, because you don't normally see that in people's homes.
No, not at all. But that's good because you have to have a little fun. And like, what are you gonna do? I messed around with things. I always found things to do. Always.
Yeah.
People who say they're bored, I'm like, what? There's a million things to do. Now with technology, you can go on, you can learn, you can take courses, you can take classes, you can exercise, you can learn this, you can learn that. There's a whole bunch of things to do.
Yeah. There's more things to do now than there ever was. And that's for some people a problem as well, because there's too many things to do. But I know what you mean. Yeah, absolutely. I'm always finding something to do. And even if it's something minor, like just repotting a single little plant, or just putting some new seeds in the ground or something like that, anything. It doesn't take a long time. It doesn't cost a lot of money. And it gives me something to do every day. Every day I have to go back and make sure it's got water and do all those.
Yeah, it's good. You can watch it grow. You can watch. That is a big thing. Like people, you have to grow. You can't stay stagnant, but you shouldn't. You grow.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Hey, when you were in recovery, what was it like to learn how to walk again? Was that easy, or did you have some challenges trying to get back on your feet?
Oh, it was hard. And yeah, it was scary. A lot of time in this book, the reason why I read think, right? I have bookmark, think, right? Because now I can. A lot of people don't use their brain. It's your own human computer. So you have to use, you don't have to use your brain. You can just zone out, I guess. But But my physical therapist came over here. They did a home evaluation, and she put down duct tape, orange duct tape everywhere I should go, right? And I was a good patient. I wouldn't do what I wasn't supposed to. I went by the rules. And but there was duct tape everywhere. And I had a wheelchair and a walker and a cane. Oh my God. And then a physical therapist came over to my house, right? A different one. And she said, now we're going to practice use not with the walker, right? Because I could get up, right, with the walker. And, but I remember going to rehab with the walker, right? I would hold on to it for dear life. Because if I didn't have that, all bets off. And so then they switched me from a walker to a cane. I remember my physical therapist taking me outside and give me a cane and say, okay, now we got to practice. I was like, no. She goes, yeah. I go, no. Right? I was so scared to do it. I was afraid I was going to fall.
Yeah.
But it took me a while to walk. And so I would just take a couple, but it's just like a baby. I'm a baby. I think a lot of people who have strokes are babies. They're back and have to relearn everything over again. But like you said, neuroplasticity, you can learn, but it's scary because you know the ramifications if you fall and hurt yourself or something.
Yeah.
Which as a baby, I don't think you know it. And so I had to learn everything over pretty much.
Are you comfortable getting around the home now quite safely?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I can walk. It's because of exercise. Yeah. But sometimes if I'm dizzy, I'll hang on to the wall. The other night, I went into my daughter's bedroom to talk to her. She goes, why are you leaning up against the wall? I was in a corner. I go, because the wall is right here. And I'm leaning up against it for my balance. Because I think what happens is a lot of people forget that you have a stroke because you look like you're fine.
Yeah.
It probably happens to you all the time. And so it's an invisible illness, right?
Yeah, for a lot of people it is. If you're not in a wheelchair or wearing a prosthetic or something like that, people don't see it. And it's kind of good, and then it's a little bit difficult because you have to continue to explain to people what the issues are.
Yeah, that's why we have this all the time.
You're wearing a brain
aneurysm
foundation.
Yeah,
Bangle.
Brain Aneurysm Foundation
Bangle.
bracelet, right?
Yep.
They endorse my book back here, right?
Yep.
But I read this all the time to tell people, because I'm not shy about it. I talk about it all the time because I'm trying to educate other people, right? Like, for instance, I was at a grocery store and I was getting some printed at Kinko's from my book across the street, right? And the lady in the ticket line said to me, I'm not mental. I'm waiting for something from my book at Kinko's or something. She goes, oh, what are you writing about? I go, brain aneurysms and strokes and that kind of thing. She goes, like, she went white. I go, why? She goes, that is what my brother died of.
Ooh.
And she goes, I have a brain aneurysm also.
Wow.
Yeah. So everywhere I go, this has happened to me more 3 times, I think, at different places. And because I talk so much to other people, I think it's much more prevalent than what people think it is. They don't talk about it. Well, I do.
Yeah. I
I
think
talk about it all the time.
good on you. I think the stats about the amount of people who have a stroke worldwide is 1 in 6 people will have a stroke in their lifetime. Like, it's huge.
Yeah, and I don't know why. Well, people are starting to talk about it. There's community now of people doing things about it. And what we have to do is educate other people about it, and plain and simple.
Yeah, there's not a lot of
And
education
you're
happening.
doing that.
Yeah, you too. And there's not a lot of education happening in Australia. There's a lot of bodies who are trying to do great work, and they are doing some great work, but there's still not enough about it. You hear about multiple sclerosis gets spoken about all the time. There's fundraisers, annual fundraisers for
Yeah.
multiple sclerosis, which are great. And then you hear about cancer survivors. They do fundraisers for every kind of
Mm-hmm.
cancer, and that's great. But you don't
Yeah.
hear about a stroke one. You never hear about a stroke one. And it's a real challenge because there is so many people affected, and stroke affects people forever.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, yeah.
one, you know, and 30% of people who have a stroke will have a psychological challenge, mental health issue challenge. 20%
Mm-hmm.
of people will pass away. Like, the statistics aren't that good, but for some reason, there's not a big conversation about it. And that's what I'm struggling with. And
Yeah. And I don't know why there's not enough information out there, because people need desperately this information and then don't have it.
I think,
And that is where I get upset about.
yeah, one of the things I think of is because it's invisible in a lot of cases and a lot of people don't notice it.
Mm-hmm.
And same with mental health issues. We are starting to hear
Mm-hmm.
people talk about it, but the reality is that people with mental health issues, you can't see it. And when you can't see it, you make assumptions that they look fine, they must be fine, and
Oh my God.
it's not really sexy to talk about mental health issues. And I know that cancer is not sexy either, but it's mental health issues are completely invisible and people can't relate to it at all. And they're still afraid to talk about mental health issues because
Oh yeah.
there's a big
It's
stigma.
stigmatized.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have mental health issues. I'm very grateful for that, but I know that people like that do. And it's awful what they have to live through. It's
Mm,
awful.
mm.
And so I am a big, big believer in talking about it. Don't hide it and talk about it, because that is the only way and I'm a big team player, because I learned that is the only way you're going to impact other people is by being a team. You can't do it alone. Just like people let the stigma of brain health, TBI, whatever, mental health. You need people to talk about it. Don't be so isolated, everybody.
Yeah.
But I think it's changing, because I think people uh, like the older generation, how we were raised by our parents, was to keep quiet
Mm.
about everything. And now we're like,
Yeah, that
sorry.
doesn't work well. Just makes things harder.
No. Mm-hmm. And then you really feel alone. And I don't want anybody to feel alone.
Yeah, fair enough. How long did it take you to write your book?
2 years. and look at this.
How many pages?
100.
Well, that's okay. That is like, wow, that's like 50 pages a
An
year.
ebook.
That's 1 page a day, though. If you think about it, that's 1 page
Yeah, it took me a
a week.
long
1 page a week.
time to do. It took me a long time because I would go like this.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to use the computer good.
Yeah.
But I have it's a pretty funny story.
Yeah. That's 1 page a week. And at the end of that, you had 100 pages. And
Yeah.
it just goes to show you, if you start and you just keep being consistent, you get to the end and you look back and you go, wow, I've done this. It's taken 2 years, but I actually physically have done it. And there's a book, and now people can buy it. Where can they buy it from?
Amazon. Amazon. It's in my link on my Instagram.
Yep.
And I am reading it on Instagram. I'm reading it to people a chapter a week. Which a chapter is not a lot. It's only like a couple pages.
Yeah. But it's an easy read. It's called Compassionate Snob, Washing Off the Fake by Sheri McIntyre.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Sheri or Sherry?
Sheri.
Sherry.
S-H-E-R-I.
Sherry.
Sheri. Sheri, yep.
I love it. It's only,
I know, I'm funny.
On Amazon, people can buy it from $9.28. This is not a promotional video, but I feel like I need to tell everybody. It's on Kindle. It's only $9.28. Anyone can buy that. Hardcover is $19.99, and paperback is $12.34. Now, if somebody wanted a signed copy, can they get one?
If they want, well, what I did, I don't know. I'll sign it, but I had a book launch, right? And I had a raffle, which I gave all the money to the Brain Innovation Foundation, right?
Wow.
I tried to raise money for them. And but what I did, I have a stamp and I stamp it. Yeah, because I can't write good.
Yeah, okay.
That's pretty good.
That's a very quick way to sign books without having to worry about getting tired.
I just stamp it.
Yeah, fantastic. You know, it's a really good. I love your cover. I love the way that you've created this idea about washing off the fake, because a lot of stroke survivors really need to do that. They really need to wash off the fake, because it makes it very difficult to continue life being the way that some of us were before. And I know that if I had continued to be the kind of person I was before, this whole experience would have been a waste. There wouldn't have been anything for me to grow from and learn from. And I don't want to be that stupid. I want to be a little bit smarter than that in my life, you know. So I love the fact that you've put so much effort into getting a book out to just also be a great example for other stroke survivors, that if you put your mind to something and you put the effort in, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. You didn't have a timeline on it, did you, right?
No. But guess what? This is a funny thing. I said to my sister, I go, well, Barbie, when I write my next book, she goes, your next book? I go, yeah, I'm going to learn a lot more.
That's right.
Which I don't know if I'm going to write another book ever. I have a lot to do. What I don't know, but I'm pretty creative. I find something to do.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward.
I want to help other people.
Yeah, you are doing a great job. You really are. And I'm looking forward to continuing to follow you and learn from you, and also see what your next project is. And I'll make sure that everybody who's listening can go to the link to find the book on Amazon very easily, and also connect with you on Instagram if they like. I know that you're a good person on Instagram.
Yeah, and guess what? My name on Instagram is Compassionate Snob.
Compassionate.snob.
It's Compassionate Snob. But I don't think people understand. They're probably like, oh, she is snob, blah, blah, blah. No, not at all. I just do it because I used to kind of be. But it was fake. It was fake.
So being a snob was fake.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, but I just acted like everybody else did in the business. And then when I was pulled away from that, when I was alone, I realized I'm much more compassionate. I'm not like that.
Were you a
So,
snob away from work? So did it come home with you? The pretend snob, did that come home with you?
yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but when I was left alone and my brain started coming back to me, I was like, why did I act like that? That's stupid. Why wasn't I myself? I think if you're not, though, people do tend to take advantage of you. So you have to be a little bit, not mean, but just forceful or explain. But I would explain to someone, I'll be honest with them, but I feel like a lot of people don't want to hear the truth.
Well,
So
absolutely, a lot of people don't. Because the truth can hurt.
yes, and but people can tell me the truth. I try to be nice. I try,
Yeah.
but
There's
sometimes it doesn't always work. And
a
sometimes you have to be a little forceful. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say there's a post I made on Instagram just a few days ago. It was something apparently that the Greek philosopher Plato said, and he said most people are not just comfortable with their ignorance, but hostile to anyone that points it out.
That's a good one.
It's true, isn't it? Like if you tell somebody that you're being a little bit silly or ignorant, or most people don't want to know that. They just want to continue to believe what they believe and act how they want to act. They don't want to be told.
No, that is wrong. Because I get so upset when people say something about someone. I'm like, that's not nice. It's not nice. I'm like, that in my mind, this is what I didn't think of before. I think like, oh, if they're saying that about someone, that makes me look at them differently. I should say that.
Yeah.
They're not like someone I want to be around that. I don't, and I think what you're around influences you.
Yeah. And you were around all of that stuff because of your work. Is that the places that you hung around? Is that the type of people you used to normally hang around with, or is it just because of work?
It was, but work became my whole identity. So there was just work, and I used to socialize with people from work.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
And everybody is about this, how they look.
Yeah.
And that is why sometimes I'm like, I go on Instagram with no makeup, and I hate that because that is not a true person.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, as you can see, I go on Instagram, on YouTube. I go everywhere with no makeup, no hair care, no nothing. When isolation happened, I haven't shaved since then.
Oh my!
Becoming a bit crazy. So soon I'm going to get rid of it, but not because I'm trying to impress anybody, just because it's starting to annoy me. But
it's itchy.
Yeah, it's itchy. It gets really dirty. This whole beard gets really dirty when you eat. All your food.
Oh yeah.
It drives you crazy.
Yeah.
So it's not for me.
I know.
But, I'll get rid of it soon. Sheri McIntyre, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill. It was nice talking to you.
Discover how to support your recovery after stroke. Go to recoveryafterstroke.com.